Yeah, a friend of mine a few years ago watched that movie on my recommendation, and I don't think she has talked to me since. That is a tough one.
And, I mean, it's just gory and swear-tastic, but
Yeah.
it's really sort of sweet.
And it had a message during the credits at the end. It was one of the first examples of an anti-spoiler message requesting the audience not disclose the plot because it has that big shocker at the end.
Welcome. We don't feel tardy. Maybe a little bit tardy. Just a little bit. Welcome. This is Fright Club Live. We are back at Gateway Film Center in Columbus, Ohio, and we are ready for Fright Club Live. We are talking about teachers. Yeah, come on in. Welcome. Talking about teachers in horror, and as always, we are in partnership with Ginger Nuts of Horror.
Yes. Isn't it a great website? It's an amazing website. Ginger Nuts of Horror. They just embrace all things horror. You should absolutely check them out. They give great book reviews, movie reviews that Mad Wolf supplies as well as other people, and some great articles written by and about filmmakers and horror writers. It's just a great website if you love horror.
Yeah, we're glad to be in partnership with them. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we're from madwolf.com, back for Fright Club Live. Last time out, we have to thank he's an official friend of the show.
He is a friend of the show.
It was his second guest appearance. Scott Woods, such a great writer. And isn't Scott great?
Yeah.
And a big horror fan, and we love to talk to Scott. And last time we talked about Descents into Madness.
Yes, that was.
And he has some good choices.
Yeah.
Some unexpected choices, but I loved him.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he really knows horror, and he's very much fun to talk to, and we appreciated having him on. And what were we didn't get that many complaints.
Seth had one, as always.
Yeah, Seth had one as not a complaint as much as he would have loved to hear us mention.
Because if Seth doesn't have one, I'm checking his pulse. but it's a good one.
Yeah, we need to talk about Kevin, which I can sort of see that. I wouldn't normally have thought of that as Descent into Madness, but I can see that. But there's always there's just great reason to talk about that movie.
Yeah, a friend of mine a few years ago watched that movie on my recommendation, and I don't think she has talked to me since. That is a tough one.
It is.
But it's so good.
Well, and I've said many times that I think Tilda Swinton's performance in that film is the best acting I've ever seen in anything.
It's right up there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why we were the most mad about the Academy Awards in 2011 than at any time, because it ignored that movie, it ignored Young Adult, it ignored Take Shelter, Drive, on and on and on. Just heinous snubs.
Heinous.
And that was one of them. That's a good word we got to work in every now and then.
Is.
Heinous. So that's a good one, though, Seth. I appreciate that. We need to talk about Kevin. And also, Scott has a great event coming up in October.
Yeah, the Streetlight Guild does this like Halloween town, right? Halloween Village, and it's just miniatures, and it's a great thing to sort of, I think, partner with Nightmares Film Festival. you spend the day before Nightmares opens out at Halloween Village.
That
and you come
sounds
out and watch
awesome.
It does, right? It sounds like the best way to celebrate the season.
Yeah, and we missed it last year.
We did, but we will not do that again.
We will not miss it this year. So that's Scott Woods and Streetlight Guild in the Halloween Village. Looking forward to that. So thank you for Scott. That was a great episode. Now we're looking ahead. We're moving into teachers. And this is personal because, growing up, my mom was a teacher.
That's right.
I actually did have her in class.
And a girl called her a bitch and ran out one time.
She did. That was not when I was in her class. Because sometimes she was a substitute. So when she was a substitute, there were a couple times when I was in the class that she had. But yes, when she was a regular teacher, I was sitting outside, and a girl, Carla, came flying out of there, called her a bitch, and ran out the door. So, yeah. So we had beef. But anyway, we're talking about teachers in horror. So we have top 5, and they're good ones. But we also have some that are in the conversation, in the homeroom, if it were.
In the homeroom. One of them is a Takashi Miike film called The Lesson of the Evil, which is impossible to get. So that's disappointing. And if anybody ever comes across the fact that it is available in any form, please let me know. And then there's another one. There's a British movie from maybe 10 years ago called The Lesson. Mm-hmm. And that was very effective. I like that one a lot. Wicker Man, of course. It's not about teachers, but there's a great scene with the teacher.
Great scene.
Girl with All the Gifts is another one that is not about a teacher, but it turns into a story about a teacher. Which
so good.
Is so good. I love that movie. They are teachers who get stalked. So that's fun. The Devil's Backbone, again, which we just talked about. And again, it's not really about teachers, but there are teachers in the movie that are sort of a big part of it. Carrie, again, I really thought Carrie was going to make this list, but it's more about the students. It's much less about the teachers. And so it didn't make the final list. And then Apt Pupil, so he's not a traditional teacher, but it is a teacher-mentor sort of a situation.
Hence the title.
Right.
And then, yes, Carrie.
Yeah.
Was one that we considered. That was a big topic here at Happy Hour. Did Carrie qualify? And
I thought it was going to. It certainly made the short list, but in the end, I just decided the movie is really not about the teachers, and the rest of these films they really are. They're about the teachers. So it didn't make the final list.
That's right, Cassie.
That's right, Cassie.
Those were some in the conversation, but we've got 5 that made the list, and it's a good varied list too. So. Anything else you want to dive in? Since we are a little tardy, we should get rolling.
Let's just go.
Okay, this is from 2019. Have we ever talked about this movie on Friend Club? Because we love it.
We have, but it's been a while. But it's been a request, so I forget now who said it. But I heard it. Oh no, it was Seth. So.
So here we're gonna honor your request.
That's
here
right.
on the top 40. This is a washed-up musician teaming up with a teacher and a kid show personality to protect young children from a sudden outbreak of zombies. Little Monsters.
Are we gonna die, Miss Caroline?
No, it's part of the game. The zombies are not real.
Like fuck, they're not!
It is a bit scary.
What are we doing? We're scared. What's the song we can sing?
If you're happy and you know, clap your hands.
We can't stay here indefinitely.
I'm not going anywhere. You're bigger idiots than I thought, and I thought you were both the stupidest people I've ever met.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
My job is to keep you safe. Stay here until I get back.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Fuck!
That kind of behavior is unacceptable.
Max started
Max
it.
is 5 years old.
If you're happy and you know it, then your best friend is over. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
How do you like it, huh? Oh, God, what have I done?
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
That movie is so much fun.
It's so
much
fun.
And by the way, King of the World Taylor Swift at first did not grant the rights. Well, her record company did not grant the rights to Shake It Off. But Miss Lupita got in contact with her personally and got the permission.
Nice.
So, yeah. And if you didn't love Lupita Nyong'o before, my Lord.
Oh, yeah.
She just owns this. She's fantastic.
She is. She's the cutest thing
The
ever.
cutest.
That yellow dress and her little ukulele singing, and she's so authentic as the kid's teacher, and then is this absolute badass killing zombie killing machine.
Yeah.
She's so much fun. Josh Gad is also very, very funny in this movie.
He is very funny.
And I mean it's just gory and swear-tastic, but it's really sort of sweet.
It is sweet, but the contrast works so well because, of course, the gore and the F-bombs you don't really associate with children.
No.
And the contrast is great because this is all the time going on, but then she's still singing the ukulele songs and let's all have a good time.
Yeah.
And it really works. It's very funny. You're right. Josh Gad is very funny.
Yeah.
The little kid.
When I wrote the review, I said it's Cooties meets Life is Beautiful.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to convince the kids that aren't dead yet that this is all pretend. This isn't really happening. This is all pretend. And I mean, very few people could have pulled it off, but obviously Lupita Nyong'o could. And I love also, this is the first time that we really realized that she was going to become a horror staple. And I don't know what has been more exciting to me in years than to know that Lupita Nyong'o chooses to make horror movies.
Yeah. Fantastic. And this is a writer-director, Abe Forsyth, who is now doing a series Wolf Like Me, who I like the title,
With
but
Josh Gad.
I have not seen it. Has anyone seen that? Okay. But that's somewhat new. His son Spike appears as the school kid zombie.
Okay.
He is in this, and actually Abe Forsyth himself is the police officer at the beginning of the film. But this is from 2019, and it's just so much fun. Seeing that trailer makes me want to show. We should show it
We
sometime.
should show it. We should show it.
I don't know what we could do with the topic. We'll make one up.
Oh, yeah.
Yellow dresses.
I could do a yellow
I
dresses.
bet you could. So we'll start working on that. But we got to show that because it is so much fun.
It is fun.
And it's fun with the teacher, Lupita, and her ukulele. Little Monsters from 2019. All right, let's move up to number 4. And this is a classic. This is from 1955. The wife and mistress of a loathed school principal plans to murder him with what they believe is the perfect alibi in Diabolique.
Une baignoire diabolique. Un costume d'homme diabolique. Une malle en osier diabolique. Une piscine
Speaking of my mom, the teacher, she always mentioned this as one of the most terrifying. This came out, so she would have been 25 years old when she saw this. And
oh my God.
Like a lot of people talked about the ending.
Yeah.
And it was just terrifying because it took people so much by surprise, and it had a message during the credits at the end. It was one of the first examples of an anti-spoiler message requesting the audience not disclose the plot because it has that big shocker at the end. And it's become legendary for a reason. But yeah, I guess I kind of had to be remembered that it was a school principal.
Yeah, well, and they're both teachers at the school.
Yeah.
And we showed this. This was our classic a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. It's such a fun, and I find this to be a funny trailer. A wicker basket, diabolique. Dripping water, diabolique. I just find it hilarious.
Yeah.
But it is a really good movie. Everything about it is a really good movie, and the performances are great, and the mystery of it is great. Yeah. And the sort of Inspector Clouseau who comes in later and bumbles things. And then it's actually really sort of heartbreaking at the end. And yeah, I've always just loved that film.
This is Henri Georges Clouseau, who did the original Wages of Fear, fantastic movie that was then remade as Sorcerer by William Friedkin. Both are really good. And apparently this is based on a book, and he bought the rights to the original novel, and the legend has it that he beat Hitchcock by only a matter of hours getting the rights. But then Hitchcock sort of had his own twist on it, had a lot of influence on Psycho, because Hitchcock was a very big fan of this movie, and you can see it had lasting effects over the course of cinema and horror cinema.
Oh, for sure. And then they made a really sort of bad '90s reboot, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone,
but
it's not very memorable.
Yeah, and this actually, and horror movie director William Castle, who we've talked about a time or two, he in his autobiography he stated that this was the film that inspired him for the next part of his career. He understood that young generations of audiences seek terror and thrills.
I see.
And get that jolt at the end. So a big influence on...
Of course, for him, it was literally a jolt. And he would just wire your seats. But,
a big influence on a lot of filmmakers. But this is a classic. Yeah, we showed this, was it, what,
I think 2 years ago was our classic.
Yeah,
I think
love
so.
it. Diabolique from 1955. Number 4 on our list. So number 3 is actually the one we're going to show tonight, so we will not discuss it too much. A mysterious virus hits an isolated elementary school, transforming the kids into a feral swarm of mass savages. An unlikely hero must lead a motley band of teachers in the fight of their lives in cooties.
Please explain to me what's going on.
That girl Shelly has cooties.
He's right. This is a foodborne virus. Chicken nuggets. Virus is only dangerous if you haven't gone through puberty.
Are you kidding me?
At 3 o'clock, the parents will come to pick up their kids. We can signal them for help.
Bastards are gonna kill her.
They go right for the face!
They're everywhere. That's Indiana. That's Ohio. It's an epidemic.
Let's roll!
Remember that suiting up montage in every action film?
This is that scene.
Are we ready?
Ready.
I'm gay.
Oh, I knew it.
Rock and roll!
Nap time, mother.
Well, that trailer just gets us ready for the first week of school next week.
Yep.
A lot of kids going back to school. I love that term, the feral swarm of mass savages.
Yes.
That's your normal fourth grade
I
or
was just
whatever
going
it
to
might
say,
be.
that is probably how most teachers refer to their students. It wouldn't surprise me.
How many people have seen this already? Oh, just a
right.
couple. Okay, I love
right.
that.
Me
well,
too.
As you can tell by the trailer, it's a lot of fun.
It is very much
a
fun.
lot of fun and funny, and a lot of recognizable faces in there too.
Here are my two favorite things, or my favorite things about this movie, is that it's co-written by the writer of Saw and the co-creator of Glee.
Yep.
And that tells you, I think, all you need to know, honestly.
Yeah, the director Jonathan Milo and Carrie Murnion did Becky,
Right.
which we liked a
Right,
lot.
we do like
and
Becky
then,
quite a bit.
Lee Whannell, of course, is Saw, Invisible Man, Upgrade, Insidious. So, and a star-studded cast. So that's all we'll say about that. But we do want to talk about it afterwards and get your reaction to Cooties from 2014. That's number 3. So number 2, I guess, is a dual entry, a tie from the judges from 2018 and from 1977, Suspiria.
When you dance the dance of another, you make yourself in the image of its creator.
I feel like I'm not even here yet.
You have to decide, what is it you want to be for this company?
There's more in that building than what you can see, Doctor.
You're living with dangerous people.
You're making some kind of deal with them. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're both great, and of course, they're both about this sets of teachers who are, it's a coven, the dance instructors. I give the edge in this particular countdown to the Guadagnino version because Madame Blanc, the dance instructor, is played by Tilda Swinton, and I am not made of stone. So Tilda always gets the extra nod for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, in both cases, one of the great things that both of the movies does is make you feel intimidated by a new staff of weirdo teachers, right? By sort of putting you in Susie Banion's place. And then the Susie Banion character is very different in each of the films, but still it's that sort of I don't want to go to this school sensation that I know I hate. And the teachers are so weird in both of the movies. Delightfully just bizarre in both of the movies. And I also didn't want everything to be like your straight-up, regular old classroom teachers. I thought it would be fun to have dance instructors in here.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
for sure.
counts.
I mean, I've said often I prefer this version.
Yep,
I'm not
you have.
the biggest Giallo fan. I think that the remake just adds layers to the storytelling that for me just made it give it so much substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Guadagnino went away from the color palettes, except for the splashes of red that you saw in the trailer. I mean, it's very earth tony.
Yeah,
which is totally which I respected to go the other way. You don't try to mimic what
No.
Argento
I mean,
was doing.
I think that was a respectful choice that
Yes.
he made because the color palette of the Argento Suspiria is just top notch.
Top notch. But yeah, the fact that they're dance teachers, and I think you get more out of the the dance sequences, especially that one. They're so disjointed.
Yes.
When they're in the different rooms, I think it's so effective that way, and really, really enjoyed this one. And
I love them both. Yeah, I love them both.
Definitely do. I just think when this one packs more of a punch, but the original is classic, and I totally understand the love for it. And it qualifies as well because, like you said, it's teachers all the way around. It's not classroom, not classroom teachers.
And what I love, what it made me think of when I was a kid, the original, was if the movie The Witches with Angelica Houston, if they were all the teachers that you were going to go like to a foreign land and started a new school and that's who your teachers were, which is really fucking scary.
Yeah, that is true. But it certainly qualifies. And of course, the ending of the remake just goes balls out.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really explosive.
Yes.
In many ways, and that's both of them. Yeah, from '77 and from 2018 or 2019, depending on who you're asking. Suspiria is number 2 on our list of teachers in horror. And number 1, well, a lot of people can probably guess. I heard people talking about it in Happy Hour. This is from 1998, when Casey Connor, Harrington High School's newspaper photographer, witnesses the murder of a nurse and sees her alive again. He decides to investigate the bizarre happenings in the faculty.
The students at Harrington High have always suspected their teachers were from another planet.
Is this gonna be on the test?
This is the test.
This time, they're right. Now, these 6 students won't just question authority. They'll have to destroy it.
Please report to the principal's office.
Popular choice at number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, speaking of master thespians, Jon Stewart is in this cast. And I love that his character name is Professor Edward Furlong. One of the many just callbacks. There are so many callbacks and Easter eggs, all over this about pop culture.
Oh, for sure.
And that's just one of them. And of course, Edward Furlong from Terminator 2, and then Robert Patrick is in the cast.
Yes.
So it just goes on and
well,
on.
this
It's so much
cast
fun.
is nuts.
I
It's
know.
also director Robert Rodriguez at peak form,
Yeah.
I think, at peak form. And then it's co-written by Kevin Williamson, right, who wrote the Scream films, among other things. It's a riff on Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is very ripe ground for high school teachers are nuts sort of a situation. I mean, the whole, it just works so well. But this cast is insane.
Yeah.
Piper Laurie, B.B. Newell,
I know.
Salma Hayek, Robert Patrick.
Christopher McDonald, he gets a Shooter McGavin in there. he gets one. I mean, it's loaded with them. It's loaded with them. It is so much fun. And I finally got the answer to a mystery in researching this movie a little bit. I remember when this came out, and the girls at the time were swooning over Josh Hartnett.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that weird-ass haircut.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So what's going on? And I found out that caused a big problem with the producers. They hated that haircut, and he did it because he intentionally kept chopping up his own hair to try to look more like an authentic teen, and it led to fights with the producers and the director that wanted him fired. I'm like, okay, so it wasn't just me. I thought that hair was weird. But it worked, and now he's one of the best things about Trap.
Yeah.
He's very good in
He
Trap.
is the best thing about Trap, yeah. And it's funny because then Allison Pill is also in Cooties that we're going to see tonight.
Yep.
Of course, Elijah Wood is the lead in The Faculty, and he's also the lead in Cooties tonight. So he just can't seem to get out of infested high schools. Yeah, The Faculty is just a great movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kevin Williamson he was also brought in to do rewrites, and apparently at one point he was going to direct this.
Oh, really?
But he got off the project to do Teaching Mrs. Tingle instead in 99. And so then the Weinsteins brought in Robert Rodriguez to direct instead. And I think peak form is a good way to describe it, because this is fun from start to finish. And it's one of those where you kind of, the first time you see it, you feel like you missed something. Either something visual in the background or some little aside, and like you got to watch it again to catch everything.
It's really
it
one of those
throws
movies
so
that
much
every
at you.
time you watch it, it's more fun.
And Piper Laurie.
Yeah.
I mean, my lord, and it's loaded with
Famke. Famke Johnson is great in this movie.
Loaded with teachers and
the
lots
student
of fun.
cast. I mean, the entire cast is
I know.
nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great.
Yeah, and that is why it is number 1 on our list of teachers in horror, but I know a lot of you guessed that.
Yeah.
But that's okay, from 1998. Okay.
Actually, we avoided a riot.
Was there going to be a mutiny?
There was.
So that's number 1, but we've got Cooties coming up here in just a few minutes. Oh, and by the way, thank you to Stan, who reminded us that there is an extra scene.
There's a
post-credit scene, so we're going to let it roll all the way through. We don't want a Pontypool situation on our hands.
No, we don't want a Pontypool. Thanks for bringing that. Thanks for picking that scab, George.
So we're going to let it roll to the very end and then come down and get your comments.
But speaking of classics, next month come back and we're going to show Onibaba. This is our classic for this year, which is an incredibly cool.
Look at that cool ass still.
It's just the coolest movie. I love this movie so much, and our podcast is going to be about pits and holes. And I'm going to tell you the story about the Madden game that my 5 siblings and I would play as youth. It's called Down in the Pit, Down in the Pit. And it will explain a lot about me as a human. And also, we're going to show the short film, The Blood of Dinosaurs. And it's great. It's so weird. It's Joe Baden. And we saw it first here at Nightmares Film Festival a few years ago. We're very excited he's going to let us show that. So that is what we have up next.
Yeah, and by the way, we didn't even talk about short films.
That's right. Wait, what are we showing tonight?
The one we're going to show tonight before Cooties, we're going to show the original Obstacle Corpse proof of concept that we filmed. Thank you. That we filmed to get the project rolling for Obstacle Corps. So if you've seen Obstacle Corps, which is streaming now, by the way, you'll notice some faces, some familiar faces, maybe in different roles than they eventually played. But we got a lot of familiar friends to come on and help us out, do this proof of concept.
That's right.
To kind of get an idea of what we wanted to show.
And originally we had planned to show our new short film, which is called Basement Buddy. But we're actually going to screen it at the end of this month at the Gravity Film Showcase. So come out to that.
Thank
and
you.
we thought we're not going to show it and then show it again in 2 weeks. That's just dumb.
Yep.
So we thought, well, what else can we show? And we're like, oh, I know one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know one. So we'll have that first, and then we'll have Cooties, and we'll talk about it. And remember, we've got a post-credit scene, so stick around, and then we will talk after that. I think that's about it, right?
I think so.
Okay. So, Stan, hit it, and we'll talk to you in about an hour and a half or so. Yeah.
Yay.
Got the impression you like that.
Yeah.
That
Dwight
was-
kills a lot of children today. So I didn't want to say in advance why I thought Obstacle Corp's short made a good, a pairing with this in case you hadn't seen it. But by the end, you probably assumed.
Yes. Was that an inspiration for that scene? But no, it fit really well. And yeah, did you notice there on the in the Danville Theater, one of the movie posters was "Girl Walks Home Alone at Night," and the other one was Cooties.
Cooties, yeah.
for this movie. Yeah, just.
Produced by Elijah Wood's production company that produced this movie.
Yes.
Okay, all produced by
Yeah.
Elijah Wood's
Yep.
company. Yeah. Yeah, and there were other little, the girl with the tricycle.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a callback
yep.
to Saw, so a
Yep,
lot of those.
yep.
And, of course, the Hobbit joke.
Oh, that's my favorite in joke. That's hilarious.
A lot of fun. Fun and bloody. Fun and bloody. How about some thoughts? Anybody want to come down and talk? While you're waiting, and I also was reminded of in the beginning there when Elijah Wood can't get out of his car and has to climb out the back. I've actually done that, but I did it on purpose. When I used to drive a little Ford Festiva,
That's
and
right.
one of the joys of my life in my old parking garage downtown was to find someone who was taking up 2 spots. And I would wedge my car in there. The only way I could get out was to climb out my own hatchback, and you goddamn right I did it. And before I did it, I taped up a note inside my window that said, "Don't take up 2 spaces." So when I came out, usually there was a lot of spit on my window. But that was a sign of victory. So it filled me with glee. What do you think?
This was one of my favorite movies you've shown at Fright Club.
Oh, good. Yay.
I enjoyed this thoroughly from start to finish. I think I was thinking about this. It's interesting that you showed Mom and Dad a couple months ago having like adults attack the children, and now here it's the opposite, the children attacking the adults.
Equal time.
That's right.
We love all sides. We thought it was time for a deep, thoughtful conversation about the educational system in this country, and this provided it, along with a lot of fun. Yeah, that was. I thought about that too, actually, because when we've said a lot of times in reviewing and talking about a lot of movies, anytime a movie will harm a child.
Yeah.
Then all bets are off. But in
Right.
this is one of those that just has so much fun with it.
Fun movie, a lot of good themes and pops and everything, but this is a typical movie that you want to watch in a theater with
Yeah.
other people
Yeah.
because it makes it much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. It's just fun and funny and kind of raucous.
Yeah, that's a good word. Raucous.
Did anybody not like it?
Uh-oh. He's lying.
Yeah, I have to admit though, I have a little bit of an upset stomach, and the opening was really quite trying, and I knew it was coming. And it was just I was like, this was a poor decision for me today.
Yeah. Oh, it's really,
It's nasty.
Really, since high school, I can't hardly even look at a chicken nugget.
Oh, no, God,
without
no.
getting a little sick, and that
No.
was like, oh my God, yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
And it reminded me a little bit of Chicken Run. Thinking that as well. Tweeties. Well, I'm glad everybody liked it.
Yeah.
It's always good to have those crowd pleasers, and we appreciate that. So we're looking ahead to September 13th. We talked a little bit about that already. Onibaba.
That's right. Yep, that's our classic, and we're going to show Blood of the Dinosaurs, which is nuts in the best kind of a way. So come back out for that. We're going to talk about pits and holes, and we're going to learn how to play down in the pit.
Write your own joke about that. Pits and holes. We'll be talking about that. So that's great. That's September 13th. We'll have this podcast edited down and posted here in a couple days, and you can find it on all the usual outlets, madwolf.com, and, of course, Fright Club Live on Instagram.
That's right.
Fright Club Pod on
And also Ginger Nuts of Horror.
Ginger Nuts of Horror,
That's
they
right.
posted as well. And, of course, the Fright Club Podcast group on Facebook. So
Yeah.
lots of ways to keep in touch. We hope you will, and we hope to see you next month for the September Fright Club Live. And, oh, man, that means we're just inching closer and closer to Nightmares Film Festival.
That is correct.
Right here at Gateway Film Center in October. Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe it's almost that time again.
I
But
know.
man, it's going to be another fantastic year. We're finalizing we're the lead thriller judges. So we've been going through the list of on ours, and then we've been conferring with some of the other judges. There's good stuff coming.
Yep.
Good stuff coming. So put that on your calendar as well. We'll see you then. And until next time, she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Fright Club Podcast.
Stay frightful, my friends. That was a loud one. Good job. Thanks, you guys.